You're such an asshole.
So, as you guys know, I cannot give financial advice. You really can only like, well, here's the conventional wisdom, or this is something that you might want to look at. I can't tell you. People are, well, what do I do with my money? I can't tell you guys. You need to hire someone who is licensed, who's gone through the Series 67, Series 66 financial training and all that. But in this particular case, I'm somewhat at a quandary because I'm like, dude, there's something you really ought to evaluate and look into. I can't tell you what to do. I can only say you need to further research this option. And whereas his question is not necessarily about crypto and all that, it's almost this unavoidable part of his financial question, especially because his goal is one of work life balance, like money versus time. And what I'm going to do is address the monkey in the room now and tell you to further research something. But like many guys who own crypto, particularly Bitcoin, many of you have had the run up. I don't know. Is it still above 100,000? Something like that. This guy has a portfolio that is 67% Bitcoin. He has, I believe, multiple millions of dollars. And his goal is to, if I remember reading your request correctly, is to get married and have a family. But then his goal is like, but I want 10 million, bro. Stop it with the crypto bro shit. Here's the problem a lot of you are facing right now. And it's the problem any investors had since the beginning of investing. Like, do I sell now? When do I sell? When do I lock in my capital gains? No one knows. There's no way to know. That's predicting the future. This is why on every investment brokerage account or agreement you ever sign up to is like, we're not held responsible, because you don't know. If you knew, you'd be the world's richest man in the world. You'd be a trillionaire. There's a Saturday Night Live skit called Future Man. Go look it up. I mean, you don't, but here you guys are sitting on some tremendous unrealized capital gains. And it's like, well, is it going to keep going up? Could it go to 200,000? Could it go to the moon? Could it go to a million? We don't know. But you're sitting on some capital gains. And what I'd like to introduce to you is the concept that will help you decide maybe you should sell. When should you take capital gains? You have to understand what your long-term life goals are, because that therefore sets forth what your financial requirements to achieve those life goals are. And then you could stop and say, all right, could the crypto go to the moon more than what it already has now? It could. I can't even say it. Is a strategy, is one of the strategies is to sell some and hold on to some rest, right? Lock in some capital gains now, secure my gains to then, because I know I'm gonna get in trouble. You can't buy a house with crypto. I know it. I know. I know. But it's not that you're going to convert it into dollars. I think you would convert it into dollars and then go buy something. But in terms of capital gains, and investing in general, it's important to know what your life goals are, because that kind of gives an idea of like, okay, you need this much to achieve your life goals. So when your investments reach that much, aha, now I can liquidate, get some capital gains, take the money and the proceeds, and go achieve my life goals. And this guy's main life goal is to have a wife and kids, all right, presumably with a house. He was also under the impression he needs $10 million. No, bro, you don't. I mean, hell, at his age, I think he's 26. We'll get to it later. If you just got $1 million, that's more than enough to start a family. You could get a very nice house paid for with cash. You can have an emergency fund. Unless you had a lot of kids, you would have probably a college or an education fund for the kids. You can have your cars bought and paid for. A great speech from a horrible movie called The Gambler is John Goodman's The Position of Fuck You. He talks $2 million. You throw that into and 5%, indestructible Japanese shitbox. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's television. Maybe it's the movies. Maybe it's the culture of crypto, bro. I need $10 million not to have a wife and kids. Hell, I know people who make $30,000 a year and they got a family of, God, 6. It's tight, but they can do it. Guy's doing a lot of his own fixing and repairing. In other words, don't have some arbitrary dude bro number that was formulated by being the popular kid in middle school and what you see on television, or these bankrupt rappers posing with rented Lamborghinis. I need 10 million in crypto. No. Go. Have you looked for a house? Have you shopped around? You do know, like, you could get a house for, I mean, it may not be the greatest house, but you could get a house for 300,000 that will house a family. Maybe you want to go 450. So each kid has their own room. You're not too crowded. Couple bathrooms. I'd say at least 2 bathrooms. Because here's the problem. You crypto bros should know this by now. What the Lord giveth, he can taketh away. Right? Crypto does this. It could all be down tomorrow. Right? And you don't want to be in the situation, bro, I thought I was going to go to the moon and then it crashed. And if I had just capitalized on it, I would have had X, Y, and Z. Because whereas, yeah, obviously you want stocks and your investments to go up forever. But you got to stop and say, okay, if I cashed in now, because right now, whether it's crypto or stocks or a mutual fund, it doesn't matter. That is a number on an exchange that tells you what you got now in that financial security. Right? It's not a house. It's not a car. It's not an education you could get. That's, even though it's not something physical, it's still a tangible asset because you can use it. None of these numbers matter until you convert them into things in the real world that are tangible and you actually secure your gains that can therefore help you live your life, right? In other words, the number up there, whatever crypto might be or whatever your investment, that's theoretical. It's not until you sell it and use it to acquire real things in the real world does it matter. I mean, that's the same thing people face with retirement. The value of your 401k, your retirement funds ultimately don't matter until the day you start withdrawing from it as a retired person. And why do you withdraw the money? So you can buy tangible things in the tangible world. The goal of retirement so that you can retire, you don't have to work, you can live off your retirement savings. What's the point of crypto? Is it just number go up in perpetuity so you could brag on the internet? Right? And what a lot of people are facing right now is like, hey, man, could it go up forever? Sure. But what could you afford in the real world? Right? That in case the crypto did tank or crash, could you secure some gains and make your life tremendously easier now? I think you guys get blinded by this 10 million, 100 million billionaire bro. Like, dude, you could get a house. You would never have to worry about lodging ever again. You could get your cars paid off or whatever. You could have a fund that be used to whatever, make sure housing repairs are taken care of. You and your wife and children never have to worry about starving. And I can't tell you to sell. I can't tell you to buy. I can't tell you how much. I can't tell you how little. All I can do is introduce the idea of like, okay, what would happen? What could you buy today to make the rest of your life a lot easier? And what should govern that is your life goals. Because I'll tell you, like, let's say, oh, I don't know. I mean, it's all hindsight. I mean, I don't really have a lot of goals in life. I mean, my goals are pretty cheap. They're all cheap. If I had invested in some kind of stock and it shot up to where I would never have to worry about housing again, I think I'd be like, okay, cool. And let's say I would liquidate my investment in whatever, an airline company, and I bought a house for cash and had some money left over to take care of that. I never have to worry about lodging again. And then the stock of the airline went up. A lot of people say, "Oh, dang, I missed out on it went up even further." True, but you know what? I don't have to worry about housing anymore. I didn't not invest it. I took something that was theoretical and translated it into real gains and bought real assets that helped me achieve my life goals. So, as I said before, I can't tell you guys what to do with your investments. I strongly recommend you go talk to a certified financial planner, but I can give you the idea of what the fuck is the point and purpose of money, whether it's invested in crypto or stocks or mutual funds. It's not number go up. It's not, I own this much in this, bro. I own this much in Exxon. That's great. You own that much in Exxon. You own that much in Apple. Are you using it and deploying it in your real life to make your life actually better? Are you using that money to achieve your life goals? And whereas no one can tell you when to, like, you don't know, like, yeah, it could go up to 350,000. You should use your life goals to say, wait a minute, this is what I can achieve with what I got now. Is maybe the time to sell a little bit and invest in these, whatever, real estate, pay off my debts, whatever it is your life goals happen to be, helping me actually achieve my life goals, not just having this theoretical number. Oh, sure, save some in case it happens to go up. All right, I'm not all or nothing, but please let your life goals govern uh, the financial decisions you make when it comes to your portfolio of investments. Does that make sense? Because otherwise, you just, from an economic philosophical standpoint, the last thing you want to do is be 79 dying and like, look how much money I saved up in Exxon and crypto and Tesla, bro. And then you're dead. You never got to use it. So I can't tell you when to sell. I can't tell you what's going to happen. No one can. But you should use your life goals to at least have some say on your investments, because that's what your investments are for, is to help you achieve your life goals. All right. So with that caveat aside, or that explanation, let's read through it. Dear Cappy, big fan of yours. Find your videos hilarious. Please tear me apart as much as you can to make me laugh. If you don't want to read all the details, the theme of my request is understanding how to balance making money and valuing your time, given the crazy world we live in now. If you care about the details, I have included these below. I'm a 26-year-old male living at home with my parents' basement. I'm overemployed, making $650,000 US dollars a year, working 5 full-time W-2 jobs. God bless you, sir. Dude, those boomers they can. Really, honestly, on average, I believe you. I 100% believe you. The reason I believe you is I worked in financial and data analyst positions. That was me. Bankers can't keep up with you. They can't. I just not one place I worked on average more than 2 hours a day. You could absolutely do multiple W-2 jobs. Outstanding. I work extremely efficiently, so I do a good job at all of them. There are no worries of getting fired or laid off. I also have a small side hustle income report on 1099 miscellaneous forms, but the income from that is small potatoes relative to my W-2 income, only about $30,000 a year. I don't. I guess if you need a hobby, sure. I've been dumping all my money into Bitcoin and Tesla stock for the past 3 years, and now I'm up big. I'm also maximizing all 5 employer matches from my 401ks. Nice. Dude, this is one of the best I think this is the best performance I've seen. Like, you got like a 12-cylinder engine and all cylinders are firing. Which are essentially S&P 500 index funds. Don't worry, I'm careful not to exceed IRS annual contribution limits. I do a backdoor Roth IRA contributions each year too. My net worth just hit $2 million today. 66% Bitcoin, 11% Tesla, 17% S&P 500 index funds, 6% high yield saving treasury bills. I live in the Midwest where everything is cheap and everyone is conservative. I have no debt, no mortgage, no wife, no kids. Where have all the good men gone? Just 3 years ago, I never thought I'd get this far, but here I am. My biggest concern is now failing to properly evaluate the trade-off between valuing my free time and making my money. All right, let me stop here. You're worried about free time and money. All right. I'm going to say your income level and the money you have saved up. you probably want to start switching to time. Okay. Let's not worry about whether the value of your investments go up or down. Let's just look at some numbers that assume you were a boring old normie and you invested in a diversified portfolio for blah, 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 blah. You have enough money now, especially the fact you don't have any debt, you don't have wife, you don't even have expenses, you're living at home. You got technically enough money that if you were to throw it in a diversified portfolio and it grew, you would never have to work again, unless you're going to live freakishly long and have absurd spending habits. All right. So you're definitely at that point where, okay, you make enough money, you've got enough money. Do you want to start having fun? Life was not meant to be working all the time. The problem you face at your young age, okay, what are you going to do? What is the opportunity cost? This is kind of the paradox, and it's an issue you get to solve and answer. You're in the Midwest, and no, not to offend your generation, but really, do you have great friends? I'm not slamming on you either. What would you do if you weren't working so much? Right? Is there an opportunity cost? Do you have some friends you want to, do they go do cool stuff? Do you guys go hiking? Do you go adventuring? Are there any hobbies you're interested in? The paradox many young men, especially your generation face, like, I think somewhere in here you said you want to have wife and kids. Have you seen some quality gals that are worth marrying and courting? That unto itself is a process. In other words, what I'm asking, you wake up in the morning, do you rue, do you lament, "Oh, I got to do my 5 jobs. I'd really love to go fishing." So let's say you didn't have to work. Would you have some hobbies and activities and interests and friends and people to invest in that you would then go and start enjoying your life? And that's a very important question to younger people, because really, I don't know. You guys don't go out. There's no drinking. Ain't nobody having sex. Women are not all that interested in your average guy, certainly not for marriage. Uh, I can understand hobbies if you'd like to go kayaking or things that are on your own. Do you have a good group of friends? That's critical. Is there a group of guys, hey, let's go play poker or let's go rock climbing or something like that? Or, which is a perfect assumption on my part, are the majority of your friends just hanging out online and they don't have a life? Because if you had a great community, some great friends, a prospective love interest, and some hobbies you'd like to pursue, then I'd say, yeah, get off the line, maybe cut down to 2 or 3 full-time jobs and go pursue your life now. You've got the money part kind of nailed down. It's now would be the time to switch to valuing your time and your free time. But if there ain't no one essentially to, you're right now, you're investing all your time into making money. That's good. At least you get money. Are there any humans to invest your time into? You could get a reciprocal investment from them in terms of human relationships. If there's not, which is very possible given your age, where you are, and other circumstances, you might as well just keep on making more money. Because 2 million today, you threw it in the S&P 500, blah 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 blah, expand pound interest, you don't have no kids. Yeah, there's no statistical way to say for sure you're going to be okay financially. We could hyperinflate the currency away. There's always caveats. But right now, especially for a 26-year-old with 2 million in investable assets, yeah, it's pretty safe to say, not 100% safe to say, but you're doing pretty well financially, and you don't have to worry about retirement. All right. Can't go ape shit with the spending. But if you just want to live a very humble life, yeah, you could buy yourself a house. You could pay off. You don't have any debts. You diversify. You're in the classic position right now of the gambler speech. I think it was, you were up 2 million. You go buy a house, an indestructible Japanese shit box that you throw the rest in the thing at 5%. There's your fortress of solitude, your position of fuck you. At 26-year-old, yeah, you kind of do have a position of fuck you. Because if, whatever, you took the 2 million. I'm not saying to do this. This is where you talk to a financial advisor. But you would take that, You throw it into a diversified yield mutual fund. It pays, say, 5%. What is 5% on 2 million? 0.05 times 2 million. That's 100,000. Holy shit. Yeah, you could take 2% out of that. You'd be fine. Especially you got housing you have to pay for, but you're living at home. Anyway, but you have the option to retire if you'd like, but what would you do at the time? I don't know. I think it's fucking cool you're working 5 jobs, making 650 a year. I mean, what really? If there's no friends, there's no um activities you'd like to do. And certainly if there's no prospective love interest to form a family with, what else is there to do? Now, it just be me, you don't need no $650,000 a year. All right. You could scale back to 3. And what I would do is probably start asking yourself, well, what are some hobbies you would like to do that don't require other people? All right. Yeah. If you got some friends and all that, yeah, absolutely go do it. But I would start looking into traveling. I would start looking into doing whatever hobbies you want, kayaking, hang gliding, chess, whatever it is you want to do. You could relax. You could chill out a little bit, but I don't know. You seem to like it. I don't know. And really, what's the opportunity cost? I mean, if you're so good with your time that you're doing all this and you still go out and whatever, play poker with the buddies, get into broom ball, like you have man, I just out of morbid curiosity, I just keep on going, see what happens. But yeah, until there's a reason to not do this, I would keep on doing it. Now, if there are some hobbies and activities you want to do, yes, you're okay, buddy. I think you could go down to 3 full-time jobs. But yeah, your money sitch is kind of taken care of. It's all right. Minus the previous discussion I had before where you should talk to a financial advisor about, okay, you're heavily weighted towards Bitcoin, right? Nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. Do you want to diversify a little bit? You should talk to a financial professional about diversifying. Because right now, well, you got Bitcoin, Tesla, and S&P, and high yield savings treasury bill. Where's your real estate? All right. Real estate should be part of a balanced portfolio. I mean, you got the crypto. Don't worry, you got your crypto down. I would go and talk to a financial advisor who could take in your life goals, figure out what you want to do, and look into that. And then long term, oh, okay, do you like living with your folks? Yeah, I don't know. You might want to go buy a little bit of property so you never have to worry about having your own house ever again. Um, but that's the as my first discussion about when do you capitalize, when should you diversify out of your crypto? That's a discussion for you and a certified financial planner or financial advisor to have a discussion with. All right. But assuming you square that away and you handle that with a pro, just on numbers in terms of how much money you have saved up now, the income you make, yes, I would start looking into swapping out time for money. I'm sorry, money for time. Your money, you got plenty of money. You're doing good. I wouldn't give up necessarily all of your situation, like maybe take the top 3 paying jobs and I go start living life a little bit. You may be at the stage you don't even know what you want to do. Well, sit down and figure some things out. I mean, don't quit your job if you don't know what you're going to do. But maybe go to a meetup on a weekend, like, oh, let me see if I like backgammon. Oh, I don't like backgammon. All right, keep working. Oh, I'm going to try boxing. Oh, I don't like boxing. Oh, okay, keep working. You find a cute girl at the rock climbing club, and she's the bee's knees, and holy cow, you like rock climbing and you like her. Hey, all right. Maybe you just need 3 jobs instead of 5. All right. So yeah, you're in a unique situation where on paper and everything else, yeah, it's time to start living life. But man, I don't know. What you're doing is pretty cool. And unless there's a real compelling reason for you to stop, I don't know. I just keep on going, see where it takes you. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you get to do what you want to do. For example, GF is, like, are you gonna do videos again? I'm like, yeah. And she, like, well, if we would go out on a day, I'm like, yeah. I know. I like doing this. I'll take a day or two off and I start missing doing videos. Is it real work? No, it's work. Maybe you got the same thing. Maybe you enjoy your job or jobs. But yes, if you're looking for permission, now would be the time. Yeah, start evaluating what you want to do for fun. Here I am. My biggest concern is now failing to properly evaluate the trade-off between my valuing and my free time and making money. I don't want to fall into the just one more year trap, but on the other hand, things can always change. And retiring too early seems like a dangerous idea. Right? You're not going to retire. You're going to have to do something. You can scale back. Right? There's no way at 26 I say, "Oh yeah, retire and never work." No, you drive yourself fucking nuts. You just need to scale back a little bit. You never know if the financial system will collapse, if your investments will go to zero. You're right. Absolutely. Maybe you want to look at traveling overseas and buying property overseas. That's a big apple to take a bite out of. That'll take up some time. Traveling is going to be in your future. I really think so. If you can work remotely, great. I think you can because you got 5 jobs. But yeah, that's something I'd start evaluating and investigating. Just like you should investigate hobbies and maybe some social activity, you should also investigate traveling overseas and buying property overseas. You never know if the financial system will collapse, your investments will go to zero, if inflation will be excessively high, thus destroying real returns on assets. I think the only way anybody can have any sense of security if they continue to provide immense value to the world. All right. Now you're worried about inflation, right? Why do you worry about inflation? Because I couldn't afford things. What if you had already afforded the things, right? People your age that can't afford housing. Well, you can. What if you bought, I'm just showing you an example. I'm not saying to do this. What if you were to just buy a house for cash right now? Right? Set aside a little bit of money, toss it into whatever inflation adjusted bonds so you can keep up with inflation. What if you built your position of fuck you? Would you have to worry about inflation as much? The answer is no, because your single largest expense, lodging, is taken care of. This is where I'm talking about translating things from a theoretical number into a tangible asset that will ensure and hedge against inflation. If continue to provide immense value to the world. Right. And you're not wrong there. Having an inflation adjusted skill like dentistry or accounting is a hedge against inflation. And it's you are, and if you're in data science and all that, you're doing pretty well. But yet that's precisely what I'm growing tired of doing by working all these jobs. It's also hard to know how much money I'll truly need given my age. You'll never know. You'll never know. But I'll tell you this, the less you need to live, the less you'll need to retire. For all I know, the fountain of youth will be found in my lifetime. May end up living 150 or older. I wouldn't worry about that. You don't control that. Not banking on it, but you never know. I also plan to have a wife and kids at some point in the next 10 years. Right. So your biggest risk is not inflation, it's divorce. Sorry to put a cloud in your dreams. Do you really want a wife? You just get married and have kids. At your state, here's not only should you go talk to a financial advisor about managing your portfolio for a more long-term secure future, I would also talk to an estate lawyer and look into trusts. So, now tomorrow your crypto could fall to zero and you don't have to worry about this problem no more. But if you're going to have an estate, which is kind of what you got now, buddy, I would definitely talk to an estate lawyer, especially before you get married, and say, okay, I need to make this divorce proof. So you get I think it's an irrevocable trust. And whatever, your house, if you own it, your brokerage account, whatever, it goes into a trust. And that way you get married, and then I don't know, your old man is in charge of the trust. Somebody you trust is in charge of the trust. And then you get married, and then wifey poo isn't happy, and she wants to sue you. And like, oh, well, here's my $3.46 in my bank account. What about the millions in crypto and Tesla and real estate and no, 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 no. Oh, that's in a trust that my dad runs. Yeah, that's not me. Um, that I know you didn't ask about it, but that's your biggest risk right now is divorce. You're not dating, you're not there yet. I'm just saying down the road, you are going to want to look into an estate planning lawyer before you get married. I'd recommend you don't get married. Have kids, whatever you want, don't get married. Since I know you mentioned it, yes, I'll use an offshore Cook Islands trust to protect my assets before getting into that relationship. Well, why offshore? Okay, you've obviously done your research then. The Cook Islands. If you were in this situation, how would you decide to start taking it easy? In my mind, I have at least 10 million net. I have at least 10 million net worth as a goal. No, you don't need 10 million. Why 10 million? Where'd that come from? Do you know what 10 million is? I mean, yeah, sure. I wish you make 100 million, a billion. I want you to be as rich as possible. But at what, how does, right now you got 2 million in assets. What is an extra 8 million going to help you achieve that is the wife and kids and family? Are you going to buy an F-16 fighter plane? What do you need the extra 8 million for? Yeah, fine. Get it if you can. It's not going to hurt. I get it. But why do you need 10 million? Why that? 2 million at 26. You know, if you had a house, the boring, indestructible Japanese shitbox story. All right. You can have a family now. You don't need the extra 8 million. As a goal, which I can likely get by my early 40s if there isn't an extended bear market. Well, good luck in guaranteeing against that. You don't know if that's going to happen. Look, you want to get married and have kids, right? Well, what's going to be part of that is not living at home. Here's a big question. You're gonna need your own house. I am not saying liquidate any investments and buy a house. I'm pointing out something that you get to decide later. You want a wife and kids. That requires a home, right? Not living with your parents. So somewhere in your future, you're gonna have to get a house. Do you even know where you want to live? This is where I think you might want to look at the book Reconnaissance Man. You need to travel and find out where you want to live. Now, maybe you love your folks. Obviously, you do if you're still living with them. You don't want to leave home. You like the Midwest area where you are. Fine. Well, don't put off today until whatever can be done tomorrow, whatever the hell the saying is. Well, if you know you're going to want to have a wife and kids, maybe you might look at a house or some property at least. And you're going to find out you don't need $10 million for that. I would now, in perfect honesty, I'd probably hold off on the house because you don't have time for that. And you don't know where you're going to find your future wife. She might be in, I don't know, Texas or something like that. She might be in Florida. So maybe start earmarking some funds for a real estate purchase. But if that's you see where we're going from number on internet to, oh, tangible budget for something that I need to buy to achieve my life goals. Do you see where I'm talking here? That's great. You got all these investments. What about how does it translate into helping you achieve the tangible goals in your life? How would you say a 10 million early 40s? This amount could be overkill, though. I think it is. It's just hard to know when so much can change. Yeah, no, I appreciate your concern about look, if you're worried about risk, the number one strategy against risk is diversification. For the love of God, go talk to a financial advisor. Again, I can't tell you what to do, but if you're worried about risk, then it's diversification. And then there's also tangible things you can do now. Now, I'm trying to think. If you knew, I wish you knew where you want. Oh, I totally want to live in Tennessee. Go buy some land in Tennessee then, because you know you're going to be there. I know this request sounds like a joke and meme, but it's true. Honestly, when you can learn anything on the internet, I see no reason a dedicated Gen Z kid, anyone, can't do what I'm doing. Love to hear your thoughts. All right. Trying to think of anything I haven't said. The main decision facing you right now is, well, it's not the main decision. How do I want to put it? The key variable that is going to help you make a decision is, do you have a social life to invest in? If you have some friends, if there is a vibrant social community where you live, if there's a girl you'd like to date, if there are some hobbies you'd like to participate in, you should start the transition, not the cut it off, switch off, I'm never working again. It is time to start the transition from working 5 jobs to maybe working 4 or 3, and switch out of work and start going and living life a little bit. Okay. I'll tell you this, finding a wife's going to take you forever. I mean, statistically speaking, a quality woman. All right. You've got enough. That worry of, oh, but will it ever be enough? No, it'll never go away, because it can always be taken away from you. Democrats could run the roost and just, oh, you got too much money. Fuck you. There's always that, but you can't live out of fear of things you don't control. Right. But you're making enough income now. You have no expenses really. You have a significant investment portfolio already, albeit it's a little skewed. You might want to consider diversification. Talk to a financial planner about that. But right now, yes, you have your money taken care of. And now, if there's a social world, community, people to invest in, I would start to transition. At the same time, if there isn't, yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with working your 5 jobs. You might as well, because it's only going to save up more money. It's only going to make your life easier when the point in time comes that there is a social group of people or environment to invest in. So that's your first thing. If there's a party you'd like to attend, or there's been people you've liked to been hanging out with these past couple of years, you have absolutely every permission to do it. But I would not give up what you got right now fully. So again, transition, scale back. Maybe start with 4 jobs. You enjoy boxing or hiking, you really want to spend more time at the Elks Lodge, whatever, scale down to 3 jobs. And you'll find the new happy medium there. All right. And that's a you decision. You got to figure out how much work you want to do and how much fun you want to have, but you're pretty good to go. All right. I won't worry about the money anymore. So there's that. One thing I would focus on is traveling and figure out where you want to live. You could be very fortunate that you love your family. You couldn't think of any other place you want to live. All right. Now, because you want to get married and have kids, a next project that you should take money away from working and maybe focus on is finding out where you want to buy property, what kind of house you want. It could be really easy. There could be the perfect house you've always wanted, and it's nearby, but not too close to your family, so not going to drive you nuts. You could, that could be done this year, right? So you're going to want to start getting into the market and mindset of, oh, I better get my own house if I'm going to have a family. Since wife and kids is your main goal, you're going to have to put a little bit more effort into that. That's going to be another job. That's not going to be fun. That's going to be a job. You're going to have to go on dates. You're going to have to go on social events. You're going to have to ask girls out. I know you go into the gym. That's another thing you should discuss with yourself. You're working 5 jobs. Do you even have to, are you physically attractive? Because if you ain't physically attractive, don't even bother asking girls out. You better go get to the gym and get good looking. That might require one less job. Right. So there are a bunch of, it's not just quit the job and go have fun, though there's that, but quit the job, one of many, and redirect it towards some other investment that'll help you achieve your lifetime goals, which is wife and kids, which is, I'm almost going to guarantee you're going to have to go to the gym. That's going to be, you're going to have to start dedicating time to that if you're not already. I mean, you may be the wunderkind who has 5 jobs and can bench press 250 and you're in amazing shape. You go to the gym, and you go to church. I'm just going to go based on your time budget. You don't have that. I think that's a good intermediary step for the here and now. Go out, have a little bit of fun, get yourself into a gym, maybe get rid of your lowest paying job, and kind of go from there. And then with the girl, you want to get married and have kids, you're gonna have to ask out a lot of girls. I don't know how big your town is. May not be that many girls to ask out, so you don't want to poison the well as if it were, but you're going to have to go online. You get to go into that fucking nightmare chore. But if you want a wife and kids, you're going to have to find a wife. That's where it starts. So I don't know if you're religious, you go to church or what, even though church is a pretty bad place to do that. And then go talk to a financial advisor about your portfolio and potentially diversifying. But yeah, otherwise, no, I think you're, I don't think you're good to go. You are good. It doesn't get any better. All right. I know you're worried about money and all. It could all be, yeah, but I know a lot of millionaire 26-year-olds, right? Who make 650,000 a year remotely. I really don't. So here's another one for you. Perfect is the enemy of good. You're never going to get perfect, man. You're just going to waste your life trying to be perfect. You got a really good now, man. I would not fuck this up trying to be perfect. And I would not for the love of God, if a girl asks what you do, I'm a data scientist. Absolutely. You don't tell them anything about that fucking money, man. You don't tell them any fucking thing about it. That's about it. Link below. For those of you with financial questions, you can get Bachelor Pad Economics. And then for you crypto bros who are now suddenly millionaires, may I recommend to the client, I'm going to recommend you do this too. Take the course Achieving Financial Excellence. I go into more philosophical detail about what the point and purpose of money is. When you start throwing around $10 million, like, look, yeah, I wish everyone had $10 million. Of course, you don't need $10 million. If you had $5 million and then you went to $10 million, your standards of living are not going to improve that much. You're just going to have $5 million more dollars. And I'm no socialist, all right? I'm no Democrat. But even I know the sushi is going to taste the same whether you got 5 million in the bank or 10. And please go take that course, Achieving Financial Excellence, so you know the real role and purpose that money plays into it. All right, let's go to the super chat. It's Ace Montana, $2. If you made a crypto coin, what would you call it? Cappy coin. Of course, Cappy coin. So look at this, the two duking it out for the most American name in America right next to each other. Don't tell people you have money. From Sam Whiskey. You always hide your power level. You never tell anyone you got money. Adam Schmidt, $5. Favorite video in a long time. Request Bitcoin versus paying off the house and rentals on the way. Thanks again. Look, it's a simple thing where my approach, I don't want to work for anyone ever again. I want my freedom. And if you said, Aaron, you got an investment, it could be Bitcoin, and you sold it, it would give you enough money to pay off the house, buy food forever, right? If you could, assuming it would store well. Like if I could buy all the material, physical things I would need, toothpaste, dental floss, the house, reserve set up for insurance and tax, all that. And that would carry you on for the rest of your life until you were dead. Well, yeah, why wouldn't I? But then you'd have no money left over. Like you said, it would carry me till I'm dead. I'm dead. And what I think a lot of the crypto bros don't realize is like, look, you can lock in a very easy life now and probably have some crypto left over to be realized in any future capital gains if it happens to come by. But what is the purpose of investments if you never use it to make your life easier, right? And what the one thing, if you can get a free house, if your house is bought and paid for, that is the single largest thing you can do to really shore up all your finances until you're dead, because you knock out the single biggest expense. And yes, your investments could have gone up if you left it in. You're right. It could have. I mean, housing probably go up too, just from inflation alone. But you made it so you never have to pay a mortgage or rent again. And so that's why I'm like, what do you want? Like, if I never want to own a house, probably. Okay, well, then it's a different ball of wax. You got to, okay, well, what do you do then? Christoph and on $5. Bitcoin is 107 today. Unless you are a very long-term investor, sell. I can't recommend that or not recommend that. That's Chris. We do not endorse any particular invested actions here at this channel. Talk to a competent tax people, maybe start a foundation. Tax will be insane. Fintaji, 10 euros, new guy. Merry Christmas, Cappy. Merry Christmas, Fintaji. Mr. Inanimate, 20 generous dollars, gonna buy some Poke Bowl today. Went to a Christmas party and everyone, the gal that just got her master's degree in early childhood education, the dude bro business major, the boomer boss, the wife with the big house that was financed and much more. Yep. They're not humans. Hey, it sounds like a great NPC party. Did everybody say the thing that they were programmed to say? Did the Borg conform? Did they assimilate? Sounds like a boring, like, oh, yeah, what interest rate you get on your car? Oh, good for you. Adam Schmidt, $2. Dang, one of your best videos ever. Well, it's a problem facing anyone on any capital gains. Like I said, there's no answer. This is the paradox. I'm trying to introduce some practical economic philosophy to help you make a decision where it's like, what is the purpose of investments if you never liquidate them, right? All these people, he died a millionaire. That's a tragedy in the world of economics. All that money you could have spent enough, if you're a billionaire and, Bill Gates could never possibly spend his money. I mean, I get it. But is it cool? Yeah, I own 25 million in assets. Well, that's cool. But have you gone fishing with any of it? Did you sell any of it to buy a decent car? Good for you. You got 25 million in some kind of portfolio. Well, did you go on a cruise? Did you buy a Poke Bowl? One thing I like doing with I know it's not a lot of money. Do you know how big a kid's eye gets when you give them a $20 bill for their birthday or whatever? Oh, that's right, kid. Uncle Aaron, the fucking best. And then the Uncle Wars start. And Uncle John comes in with fucking kittens at his farm and puppies. And Uncle Aaron is no long hit $20 bill. If you're wondering, puppies beat $20 bills. If you're wondering what wins the hearts of little nieces and nephews, puppies trump every fucking thing. I can't beat Uncle John with his puppies. But yeah, man, what are you going to do with the money? I'm not saying squander it all. Absolutely not. I'm saying, hey, what is going to make your life easier? There you go. All right. Hope that provided a little bit of insight. As always, get a financial advisor. Always, before you make any financial transactions, always talk to a financial advisor. We'll talk to you guys later. Toodles.